Hey, Ross here with Big Water Fishing. You've seen some of our videos. We're always talking about different ways to, rig our boat up better. And one of them obviously is having a good trolling motor. So people ask me all the time, what type of trolling motor do you need to have? And I've got two boats and I have two totally different types of trolling motors on them. The first is kind of my normal boat that we guide out of. We do a lot of trolling out of. We fish in like the Detroit River. We may need to stay in an individual spot. This has the Minn Kota Quest Altera. And it's a brushless motor, tons of power. This is actually a 12 or a 36 volt, depending on how you hook up the power, which is kind of neat. But the big thing I like with this is it auto deploys and stows. So whether I'm in the Detroit River or some river you're fishing, you can deploy that and not blow off the spot before you get off of your big motor. When I'm trolling, I can have this down and going before I have to go to the front trying to get around guys and things like that. Or when it's rough, not having to go up there and bend over and stow this thing makes a really big difference. The other thing is you can get longer shafts. So if you have a boat that has, quite a bit of distance from the water to the gunnel there, you can actually get shafts, I think, over 72 inches anymore. The thing with it is the trolling motor foot pedal is attached. So it's got a cable on it, maybe, 16 foot long or something. It's very long. But that's nice, but it's not as friendly if you're on it all the time. If you're using it and you want to move the pedal all the way to the back and steer it from there, that's great. But it's not as friendly if you're on and off that trolling motor all the time, which is why I go to my second type. So I've got my little bit smaller tiller boat. This stuff does a lot of inland things. We do a lot more precision stuff. We're doing night fishing, casting at individual targets. And I guess you'd call this as a Minn Kota All-Trex Quest. And, kind of a bass style motor. So the difference is we have a scissor mount here. We're not going to have that auto deploy or anything like that, but we've got a foot pedal that is really just works for your feet. You can run this thing with boots. You can adjust the power and things like that. Now we've got spot lock and all those same features that we have on the other motor. For the most part, we have on this as well. And another nice thing is you kind of notice here is we've got places to put on accessories, which you really can't with the Altera because that shaft is going to slide up and down. So it's very difficult to mount things to that motor itself, where it's much easier here with the All-Trex. So we've got a 360 on here. We've got Mega Live. You can just wire things up a whole lot easier, and it's a lot easier to fish precision stuff with the scissor mount or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of different names, but a lot of guys call that Altera. They call it like an electric steer, and they call this a cable steer because there are quite literally cables going up and down to adjust it. So I would say it's not necessarily which motor is the best, but which is the best for your particular boat. And if you're a guy that fishes a lot or a guy like me that guides, we have these on a Minn Kota plate and with a Minn Kota plug, so I can swap these actually back and forth. So this motor goes on that one in a matter of probably 30 seconds. So a lot of different options on trolling motors. With these new brushless Minn Kotas, the power, amazing. A lot of the features that we are used to in those, pretty amazing. Look them up, Minn Kota Altera All-Trex.